Hi everybody, this is Tom Stubbs with Remax Equity Group, and I'm out at the wonderful Oregon coast, Glen Eden Beach. Lisa and I were in Portland yesterday, and it was about 90 degrees, so we thought we'd head out to the coast, and it's about 50 here, nice and breezy. Yesterday the fog rolled in so much you could barely see the ocean, so I thought this would be a great place to do a quick little market recap. The June market action came out the other day. I'm going to hit a couple quick stats for you on what we saw there, some of the highlights. Basically, new listings are up about 1.7% compared to last year in June. Year to date, we're up about 5.3%, so not a huge increase. Closed sales are down about 4.5% from last year in June, and overall for year to date, we're only up about 0.8%. So the market's been pretty flat. If you look at the average price compared to June of 2024 compared to June of 2025, it's up about 0.3%, so almost no movement whatsoever. So it kind of led me to a conversation I had with a client who sent me an email because he saw something online that was basically talking about how the builders are going to crash the market because they're going to get very aggressive with some of their pricing, and how is this going to affect our market, or if I agreed with that kind of theory that we're going to see some sort of crash in our market compared to because of what the builders are going to do. So I did some research for him, and ultimately I really don't think that's the case, but I wanted to hit some of the high points of that. There's a couple things. The first and foremost is because of the urban growth boundary of our area, there is a limited supply of property to be developed. So to give you an idea, right now there's about 6,470 active listings, and of those, only about 685 of them are newer construction. So that's only about 15%. So it's a pretty small segment. And if you look at the closed sales over the last 12 months, we've had about 19,964 closed sales. Of those, about 2,786 were newer construction. So that was only about 13.9%. So I really do think it's so far of a percentage to really impact our market that much. If we were in a different area where maybe new construction represented 30-40% of what's going on, I could see how that could really impact us a little bit more. On kind of a more macro level, kind of what's been going on is I just don't think as many people are putting their home on the markets. I mean, so many people have these great interest rates in like 3% range, where they're in no hurry to get away from that. So back previously, I used to say about 50% of my sales would be people that wanted to move, but they didn't have to move. And I think what's happened because of these low interest rates is a lot of people that would normally want to move are choosing not to because they don't have to. And I think that the data kind of supports that. If you look at the closed sales a few years back in 2021, it was 35,182. But if you compare it to last year, it was 21,715, which is a decrease of about 40%, which is a pretty big hit. But I think it's a lot of those buyers that are sellers that just don't need to sell. Lastly, what I always like to talk about too is there's kind of a supply and demand function here. Ultimately, until we have an oversupply of homes, we're not going to have as much downward pressure on pricing. And right now we only have about 3.6 months worth of inventory. And if you compare that to the bubble years back in June of 08, it was 9.5 months, 09, 7.3 months, and 10, it was 10.8 months of inventory. So we are a long ways away from those inventory levels. So I really think that our market is pretty gonna stay pretty much flat here the next year or so. All signs have been that way. Until there's some dramatic change in interest rates or economic news, I don't see why things would move how they have. So anyway, I hope that information is interesting for you. If you have any questions about it, don't hesitate to give me a call. Once again, this is Tom Stubbs with Remax out in Glen Eden Beach. You can reach me at 503-869-4744. And I hope you have a great day. Take care.